Hello, everybody. Welcome back to The Way That I See It. My name is Lucy Steve Fox, and this is my podcast. So in this week's episode, I want to talk about boundaries. Now, often we consider boundaries as either things like fences in our garden with our neighbours, or we think of boundaries as kind of like rules or standards. And I can tell you it is both of those things, of course. But for me, what I'm going to talk to you about today and what I really want to share with you, what's on my heart to share with you around boundaries is energetic and emotional boundaries, and why they have been something that have taken me years, literally years to cultivate, and I'm still working on it, right? There's no one's perfect, but why they are so freaking essential. And especially if you have neurodiversity, especially if you're empathic, especially if you've got a sensitive nervous system, you are someone that is going to have to implement the concept of energetic and emotional boundaries ASAP if you actually want life to change, if you want life to be different for you. So first of all, let me share a little bit with you about my experience. So you must remember that we set boundaries based on our early life experiences. We decide what we're available for in terms of other people's behavior, how much money we earn, what we're available to look like, what we're available to receive from other people. Like, we set kind of our expectations or our standards for our life from a very young age. And that happens because of the conditioning and programming that we go through as children. Then as we grow into adolescence and we kind of learn our own mind, and especially if we're encouraged to learn our own mind, some people aren't, right? But I was encouraged to kind of be my own person. And therefore, some of that throws you out into the big wide world, and you kind of get to pick and choose what you want, whether that is to, be in business, or, decide you want to have children young, or you want to travel lots, or you want to go to university or don't want to go to university. And so you start to create paradigms and stories, and paradigms are basically just a model of how you see the world. So you could use the word construct if you prefer. We start to create constructs and stories of how we see the world and how the world works for us. And so you then go into your early adult life with these constructs and paradigms, with these standards and what you're available for from a young childhood. And if you haven't actually done any kind of personal development, because let's face it, how many teenagers have done personal development when we were teenagers, right? I'm 35 now. Now I'm hoping that teenagers everywhere are doing it because it's famous on TikTok. So if you're a teenager watching this, good for you. So we then decide what we're available for, and the way that we interact with other people, the way that we interact with, situations in life, with politics, with the news, with community, the way we do anything, right, is based on what we've conditioned and programmed up to this point. And our boundaries, both in terms of our expectational boundaries, as in what we believe is possible for us, our boundaries and, energetic lines or standards with other people, and our boundaries around what we do and don't expect for our life have been basically a result of conditioning and programming. So then let's say you start to become really aware of these things. You start to become aware of what you don't like in life. You start to become aware that you want to change things, that you want to go in a different direction, or you want to earn more money, or you want a different career, or you don't want to be fat anymore, or whatever the thing is. You are going to have to change your energetic and emotional boundaries, not just practical things. So what most people say is things like, well, if you want to lose weight, get in a calorie deficit, follow a plan for 12 to 16 weeks, and then you'll be there, right? If you want to improve your relationship, leave your current partner and find someone better, right? There's a lot of emphasis when it comes to changing your life on the practical. There's a lot of emphasis on the outside world. There's a lot of emphasis on the action steps, right? And here's the thing I will tell you. I guarantee that you've had the same boyfriend more than once, or partner, or relationship, whatever. I guarantee you've had the same boss more than once. I guarantee you've had the same job more than once. I guarantee you've had the same conversation more than once, the same friendship experience, the same financial experience, the same body experience more than once. You've yo-yoed in some capacity of your life. And that is because even though you went to make a practical change, you didn't change your energetic and emotional boundaries around what you were available for. So that is what I'm going to talk to you about tonight. What I want you to understand is that we always get what we expect. And by that, I don't necessarily mean literally, but I mean, if we have an understanding of the world that says, actually living on a credit card is normal, paying bills late is normal, not having enough at the end of the month is normal, that is what we will create and what we're available for. So even if you have extra money in the bank, you'll probably manifest or create a bill that takes the extra money out so that those three things remain the same. So you could say you want a new boyfriend and break up with the old one, go out there, find someone new who on paper is better. But if you're available to be spoken to like shit, for them not to contact you and be a bit crap, and 3, to have a crap sex life, then that is exactly what you're going to get. So what I want you to think about is this. You have got to not only take different action steps, you've got to redesign what you're energetically available for. So that also then comes in with how we behave with other people. So you can decide that you want to have, let's say you're a PT, right? And you've got clients, but they're all draining and negative, and they pay late and they cancel last minute. Now, you can go out and find 10 new clients, but if you don't change your boundaries around what you expect in terms of how they pay, how they show up, what you're available for, and also how you then interact and behave with them, as in make it okay when they pay late, make it okay when they, show up late, and then you let them whinge and moan all session, you've also got to change your behavior. So there's always a practical step and an emotional step. And this is the thing that most people miss. And like in the money course, so my money course is called Money, Master and Manifest. And in the money course, what we've got is basically the whole course is broken down into practical steps and emotional or mental steps, right? And it's done like that because we have to do both. We have to do both. So when you've got an area of life, and I always use the example of money because I feel like money is the most relatable area, right? If you want to change your financial situation, it's not just pay off £100 of your credit card every month to get out of debt. Because if you're available to have debt, the concept of having a credit card is like normal to you and it's what you expect. You'll always have a fucking credit card with debt on it, right? So your boundary and your energetic standard around what you're available for with debt has to change. And the same thing when it comes to the relationships you have with other people. The same thing comes when you your relationships with your business. Like, it's not just a question of deciding you only work between 9 to 5 and that's a time boundary. Great. But if you spend the rest of another 8 hours thinking about work, you may as well have been freaking working, because we always get what we are available for. So you need to decide, what do I want to be available for? How do I want life to go for me? How do I want to redesign this narrative or this story or this construct around money or around business or around your body or whatever it is? And you get to have to do that intentionally. Now, most people who listen to this podcast because they thought I was going to talk about boundaries as in, I don't respond messages past 10 p.m. And truthfully, I try not to. Mainly because if I look at my phone past 10 p.m, that keeps me awake till like on midnight. But most people would have expected me to talk about the boundaries we have with other people and how to, be like, this is, who I am. And this is a boundary. Like, you can't do this and you can't do that. And the truth is, I don't believe you ever need to tell anyone a boundary. I don't believe you ever need to set a boundary as in, this is what I do and this is how I do it. And I don't work then, and I don't work then, and I don't work then. I don't believe you need to. I believe when you emotionally and energetically create a standard of how life gets to go for you, or a story and a paradigm, like I expect clients to turn up on time, I expect them to pay in full, and I expect them to have a great session and be focused and committed. When we set that as an intentional energetic boundary and we hold the energy of that and we stay in the space of that, what happens over time is the people who don't meet that vibration will fall away. And so sometimes what happens is people they set these new expectations or these new boundaries or standards for their business, right? Oh, I want a team that looks like this, or I want like clients that look like this. And then what happens is they start to lose clients, or people start to leave a team, or customers don't reorder a product, or, whatever, or they don't renew their subscription, or whatever it is. And then they start to get panicky and think, oh God. And actually what you've got to remember is you're just getting what you're available for because you created a new standard. So sometimes the universe needs time to rearrange. And this is what we have to remember is that sometimes, that quote, sometimes things need to fall away so better things can fall together. And when you create energetic standards and boundaries for yourself around how things get to go or how you want things to go, actually what you'll find, my hair is annoying me so much. When we set energetic boundaries and energetic standards for ourselves about how things get to go, you have to remember your previous version of your life has to fall away for the new life to be created, right? And especially when it comes to money, you cannot expect to receive more money, to attract more money, to draw more money in, and then keep it or have a different experience with money unless you change your inner experience with money. So your inner boundaries, your inner expression, the stories that you tell, the paradigms of how you see the world, what you think about debt, what you think about paying bills, what you think about council tax, what you think about, you're going to have to shift all these internal narratives, because otherwise what you're doing is, number one, taking all the power away from your own life by putting it outside of you. And number two, you could attract more money, but ultimately, if you have a dynamic that says we spend everything that we earn, that is exactly what will happen. If you believe that you have the only way you can receive money is by working really hard, you will be working your ass off till you're dead. So what you have to remember is it's not just about the practical action steps of deciding something different and taking different action. It's about shifting the internal state. It's about shifting the inner narrative. It's about changing the constructs and paradigms and setting energetic boundaries around what we are available for and what we're not available for. And there will be practical steps that come, but I always believe that the practical steps come as a result of making the energetic and emotional shifts. And this is why the money course is broken down exactly like that we have the energetic side of it and we have the physical and tangible side of it. Because yes, there are practical steps like you need to know how much debt you're in. But yes, there are emotional steps and you need to change how you feel about the fact that you've got a credit card or you had a credit card or you bought that thing and you regretted it. There are two sides to this, and what most people do is address just one. So either they maybe do some of the mindset work, maybe they get into the kind of headspace of more abundance, but they're not actually taking practical steps to follow through on those stories. So they end up bouncing all the way back to who they used to be. Or maybe you do all the practical steps, but actually what that puts you in is a scarcity mindset because you're constantly managing every penny. Of course, bills are going to come out of thin air because you're in the lack mindset. We have to do both. And so when we create new boundaries and new standards around any area of life, but specific to money, right? If we're talking about money right now, we have got to shift both the practical and the energetics. So this is why I have opened up the money course, Master and Manifest. I have opened the course up for a couple of weeks. It is available. The course is normally $444 US. It is available on a payment plan, but I am going to open up a 25% off discount code. So $111 off discount code for anybody that DMs me the word money before October 15th. So you've got until October 15th to DM me the word money on either of my IG channels or obviously on my Facebook. If you're friends with me on Facebook, don't go and add me on Facebook if you're not. I have got no room for new friends. So if you are already connected with me on one of my IGs, Next Level Lucy or at Lucy Superfox, make sure to DM me there. You can drop me a comment under this video. If I've made this into a sexy little reel, you can drop a comment underneath with the word money, and I will send you your 25% discount code for the Money, Master and Manifest course. There is a brand new module 6. I'm going to be talking about generational trauma. I'm going to be talking about your money blueprint, and that is going to drop on October 15th. So that is why we've got the discount until then, but when module 6 is dropped, that is going to hold at the value of $444 USD. So make sure to DM me before October 15th comes around in order to get your discount, because it will no longer be valid after that. So right now, if you are sat there in your life and nothing is changing, or you're feeling frustrated at the lack of change, then what you have to do right now is you have to redesign the standards that you set for yourself. You have to redesign the stories, and you have to redesign how this gets to go for you. And that is both an energetic and a practical step. So that's all I had to share with you tonight. This was the way that I see it. This was my podcast. My name is Lucy Superfox, and I'll see you on the next episode.